Okay guys, your answers to lesson 51, practice A is -6 plus 9i minus square root 3i. And B is 2 plus 4i. So here we go. If you didn't get those right, this is how you do them, right? We have I and I means -1, so you have 2 times -1. Minus 7 times -1 for the 2 i's that are there, and the I left over. Plus 2i minus 4 minus square root 3i, okay, because you take the square root of 3 that you can't do, and then convert the negative square root into I, right? So now you have -2 plus 7i plus 2i minus 4 minus square root 3i. You combine your like terms, which is going to be -2 and -4 is -6. 7 and 2i is 9i minus square root 3i, because you can't combine 9 and square root 3. So even though it looks funny because you have a 9i and a square root 3i, you can't combine 9 and negative square root 3, so you're left with that, okay? Then over here we have 3 times, if we have I to the third, we have a -1 for I squared, and then I left over, plus 5 times -1 for the I squared, plus 5i plus 7 plus 2 times -1 for one I squared, -1 for another I squared, and then I, okay? So you have 3 times -1 is -3i minus 5 plus 5i plus 7 minus 2, no, not minus 2. 2 times -1 is -2 times -1 is positive 2i, right? So then you have over here, -3 plus 5i is positive 2i, plus the 2i is 4i, and then -5 plus 7 is 2. 4i plus 2 or 2 plus 4i. Let me check. I can't even remember what I told you guys was the answer. Woohoo! It's the answer. There you go. Let's get into lesson 52. Okay, on lesson 52, the key to this one is to not let Saxon trick you, okay? If you are talking about a solution, here's what you need to remember, because look what it says. We're talking about chemical mixture problems. If you're talking about a solution and they say it's an iodine solution, that means whatever percent of the solution that they tell you is iodine, the other percent of it is what? Water. Okay, that's what the solution is. If they tell you that they have a salt solution with 25% salt, how much water is there? 75%. That's the solution, okay? So, in these problems where they're going to give you the percent of water that is in them, after they already tell you the percent of salt or the percent of iodine, don't listen to them. We don't care. It's a given. The water is there, okay? But that's not what we are looking for, okay? You're going to see what I mean by the examples I give you. Look at 52.1. This one doesn't mention any water. This one's a basic one to introduce you to what is going on. It says a druggist, that's somebody that works in the pharmacy, okay? Not what you might be thinking about. So a druggist has one solution that is 10% iodine, okay? So let's just put it right here just for a visual. You have this solution right here is 10% iodine. That means that 90% water, but we don't care about that. You have another solution that's at 50% iodine, okay? However, look what it says, how much of each of these solutions should he use to get 100 meters of another solution that he wants to make, which is 20% iodine, okay? So he wants to add these two together to get 100 milliliters, right, of 20% iodine. Okay, well, let's convert that into an equation. We have 10% of algal, let's call it X, plus 50% of something, let's call it Y, equals 20% of the 100 milliliters, right? Okay, so let's write that nicer. Now that we have our visual, we'll be done with that. We have 0.1 X plus 0.5 Y, because I'm converting the percentages into normal numbers, equals 0.2 or 0.2, doesn't matter, of 100. Okay? Well, we cannot just solve this equation because we have just an x and a y, but what kind of equation did we just form? We formed a value equation. The value of iodine in this one is 10%, the value of iodine in this one is 50%, and we are taking the value of the 100 one of 20%. So now what other equation do we need that you guys have learned before? When we have a value equation, we need a what equation? Remember, we learned it from the money. We need the quantity, okay? So what's the quantity? X plus y is going to equal how many milliliters? 100, right? So there are our two equations. Our value of the percentages inside the solution, and then our quantity, which is x plus y, has to equal 100 milliliters. Okay, so then let's write this a little bit nicer with this right here. 0.2 times 100 is 10. It's 20, here no. Okay. 20. Okay, now let's decide what we're going to do to solve these equations. The very first thing I'm going to do is get rid of these decimals, so I hate them. So you're going to move 1, 1, and that means you have to move this one over, 1 to 200, okay? And I'm going to write right here, x plus 5y equals 200. Okay, and we're going to hope that, we're going to do this right. Now you can do either substitution or elimination. I'm going to do elimination because you have the x and x right here. So I'm going to go negative x, negative 5y, negative 200. Cross out my x's. I got y minus 5y is negative 4y. Equals negative 100 because 100 minus 200 is negative 100. Divide my negative 4 there and I get y equals 25. If we know that y equals 25, we put that over here. That means that x plus 25 equals 100. So x is 75, and that's your answer for x and y, 75 milliliters and 25 milliliters, okay? So you need to find your value equation, then find your quantity equation, and solve. Okay, so look at example 2. Example 2 says a chemist has one solution that is 10% salt, and 90% water. What did I tell you about the water? Ignore it. We don't care about it. But I think I was saying that we don't care about the water because we don't. It's going to be completely obvious that when we get to an equation that's going to care about the water, okay? So, but for today we don't care. So a chemist has one solution that is 10% salt. Ignore the water because it's obvious that there's 90% water in it. Another solution that is only 2% salt. How many milliliters of each should the chemist use to make 1,400 milliliters of a solution that is 6% salt? So remember the equation we do first is our quantity equation. We have, I'm just going to convert it now. 0.1 of salt, that's my 10%, x plus 0.02 of salt, which is 2% salt, equals, we want, what was it, 0.06, 6% salt of 1,400 milliliters, okay? Then our quantity is also going to be x plus y equals 1,400 because that's how much of the solution that they need, right? Okay, let's see what 1,400 times 6% is. It's going to be 84. Okay, so there you go. 84 is right there. I'm going to move my decimal places 1. We have to move this one 2. So that means, okay, that means that this one has to move 2 as well. Everything has to move 2. So then 84 is going to be 8,400, right? So now I'm going to write it. This is 10x plus, be careful how you move your decimal places, 2y equals 8,400, right? Again, I'm going to do elimination. I'm going to do negative 2x, negative 2y, negative 2,800, so that I can eliminate my y's, okay? And I get 8x equals 8,400 minus 2,800 to make sure I don't make a mistake, even though I feel like this one might not come out right. It's 56, oh, it will come out right. 5,600 divided by 8 equals 700 for x. If it's 700 for x, we know it was, what do we say? X plus y equals 1,400, so if it's 700 for x, it's also 700 for y. And those are your two answers, 700 milliliters and 700 milliliters of the solutions, okay? So go ahead try the practice, and I'll come back and tell you if you got it right and how we got it. Okay guys, your answer for the practice is 800 and 800. Why? Because you had a 25% salt solution plus a 5% salt solution to get a 15% salt solution of 1,600 milliliters. 15% of 1,600 is 240, okay? Then you have that solution plus this solution equals 1,600 that you want all together in your new solution, right? So I moved my decimal place two places, here, here, and here to get 25x plus 5y equals 24,000, okay? I used elimination, so I did -5 on the top equation. -5x, -5y equals -8,000. I eliminated my y's and I got 20x. Here we go, I put y here. I got 20x equals 16,000, so x equals 800. Well, x plus y equals 1,600, so 800 plus 800 equals 1,600, so y is also 800. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on these two lessons. You guys are smart. That's why I know you can handle both of them at the same time. Woo! Bye!